I think most people recognize Lamar Jackson for exactly what he is, which is an outstanding player who just needs to get to a Super Bowl to cement his place as like right alongside Patrick Mahomes as the quarterback of this time.
Follow-up question.
Mahomes is the quarterback of this generation. Lamar Jackson is not. Lamar Jackson's numbers easily compare with Mahomes's. His watchability is comparable, and he will have as many MVP awards as Mahomes does. But he's not the quarterback of this generation. Mahomes is, because Mahomes has been to 3 Super Bowls. And that is the way, fairly or unfairly, we judge quarterbacks. So if Lamar Jackson gets this team to the Super Bowl this year and wins it, then I think we have to say he is the second best quarterback of this era.
I have a follow-up question.
Go ahead.
Answering that question on our screen, is Lamar Jackson still underrated as a soon-to-be 2-time MVP? What if I offered you a scenario in which you could have Lamar Jackson as your quarterback? What you have to do is give up 2 first-round picks to get him, and then give him a new contract. Would you do that?
Right. It's what every team in the league didn't do.
Right. So when you say, is he underrated, the most important people on the planet, NFL owners, didn't do that. I think the answer to this question is yes.
That's not why they didn't do it.
Why didn't they do it?
Because there was a perception that he wanted a fully guaranteed contract and the owners weren't going there. That is the third rail of NFL ownership. For whatever reason, Lamar Jackson is great, but he's not great enough to completely change the dynamics of the economic of the sport until the end of time. And as a result, he didn't wind up getting that fully guaranteed deal. He instead just got a monstrously wonderful deal that will set his family up for generations and generations, and he can continue to play great. And in the first year of it, he proved he was worthy of it because he has his team in the 1 seed, and he's going to be the MVP. Again, all he needs to do is get his team to the Super Bowl, and we can say it's not Allen, it's not Burrow, it's not Hurts. I'm trying to think of who the other people who would even be in this discussion are. He is the closest thing we have to Mahomes. Mahomes is the quarterback. He is the face of this generation of quarterbacks, right? As the Bradys and the Rodgers and, for whatever it's worth, the Russell Wilsons and whoever else, Matthew Stafford, sort of age out of that. And these guys take over the league. The big ones, the really big ones, are, in no particular order, Mahomes, Lamar, Burrow, Allen, Hurts. Who am I forgetting?
You're talking about the top of the food chain. Those are the guys.
That's it.
Those are the people.
Lamar Jackson, I think, vaults to the top of that list below Mahomes if he gets this team to the Super Bowl.
Okay.
You agree or disagree?
I agree.
Imagine what would happen if Zach Wilson took a drink, walked over to the sideline, and threw his drink at the fans sitting in the front row. Would that lead every sports show? Would there be calls for him to be suspended? Would he be able to say, I'm deeply passionate about our team and I regret my behavior. I should have let NFL stadium security handle any issues that arose. I respect the NFL's code of conduct and accept the league's discipline for my behavior. That would have been a very big deal if a player had done it, if a coach had done it. So when the owner does it, it should be a bigger deal. Now, again, I'm not suggesting a $300,000 fine is nothing, even though to him it is nothing, because there are limitations to everything. You just can't go around. If you're going to try and create a fine that is meaningful to him, you literally are going to have to fine him $500 million. And that no one in their right mind is suggesting that's reasonable. This is one of those rants that, unfortunately, I don't really have a finish for because I don't have a suggestion of what I think should be done. All I wanted was to make the point that I think not enough has been said about this. This was not a little thing. This was a big thing. Because if it became a thing, it would be everything. If all of a sudden that starts happening left and right now, Woody Johnson's throwing drinks on people and you know what I mean? You're laughing because it's unfathomable.
It's unfathomable.
But it happened. This guy did it. And I feel like it just kind of went away. Like, we got a fine, we got a suspension, they're a bad team anyway, no one really cares, let's just move on with our day. No. I'm not suggesting they should take this team away. I'm not suggesting they should dock him draft picks. I'm not one who sits here thinking excommunicate people from society, the equivalent of canceling people. But the punishment for doing things like this should be some shame. Like, you should be made to feel bad. You should recognize his statement does not in any way suggest, even though he uses the word regret, he uses the word, I regret,
and regret my behavior.
I regret my behavior. That's about as bloodless a way as you can say that as I could ever imagine. So on Thanksgiving, he was on the practice squad. He wasn't allowed at the big table on Thanksgiving. On Thanksgiving, he was in the practice squad. So, like when you're a kid and all the grown-ups are sitting at that table and you're sitting at the lousy little one and they've got the wine at their table and you've got like juice.
Chicken nuggets.
That's what he's got.
Hembo's still at that table.
He was Hembo prefers that table. But anyway, that's where Joe Flacco was on November 20th, November 30th. He was on the Jets the last few years. No one looked more done than he did. He was as done could be. He was as retired could be. And for him to come back and set the world on fire as he has in the last month and lead this team to a championship, which absolutely is possible. They are absolutely in that discussion. I'm not sure this wouldn't be the craziest Super Bowl story that we've ever had.
So I looked up all quarterbacks to ever start in the Super Bowl that did not make their debut for that team that season until after week 10. Mm-hmm. So backups that were thrust into duty late. The entire list is Nick Foles, Colin Kaepernick, who replaced Alex Smith.
Right, he was on the team all year, of course, but yes.
Jeff Hostetler, whom you mentioned, and then in 79, Vince Ferragamo for the Rams.
Right, Pat Hayden got hurt.
That is the entirety of the list.
Right. And again, those were all... Ferragamo was a pretty unusual... I mean, I was a kid, so I'm remembering this, as best I can. Hayden was a reasonably well-known player. He was a good player. Ferragamo came in. He was like a real good-looking kid, and I remember there was a lot of attention paid to that, and that Rams team made the run. That was the Jack Youngblood team. They lost to the Steelers in the fourth of the Steelers' 4 championships in that run. It's not one I remember as intimately. I don't think it... Look, Flacco has had a much better career than Vince Ferragamo. He's had a much better career than Jeff Hostetler. Who else did you say? He's had a much better career than Nick Foles.
And the other was Kaepernick. It was kind of different situation.
Right, yeah. Actually... Yeah, he's had a better career. He's had a longer career than Kaepernick. He won a Super Bowl. He's had a better career than Kaepernick got the chance to have, too. So the point is, he's not as unlikely taking that part of it into account. But the fact that that he was a retired player. He was a retired player. Whether he didn't file his paperwork, but he was a retired player. And they sign him November 20th to the practice squad, elevate him November 30th, and he might lead this team to the Super Bowl, and he very well might. That is unimaginable.
The amazing thing about all of this is not that Kevin Stefanski has asked him to color inside the lines and hand the ball off. The Browns have a bottom 5 run game since he became their starter. But during that time, Joe Flacco, a 38-year-old Joe Flacco, leads the NFL in passing. He leads the NFL in passing yards since he unretired.
Yeah.
He's got 24 completions, 15-plus yards down the field. That leads the NFL. Yeah. His average touchdown pass is 28 yards long. Joe Flacco is, flinging it. He is the reason the offense can hum. And by the way, our analytics say that the Browns defense is the best unit, number 1 in the NFL, the first of 64 units in the NFL. So you pair Joe Flacco's fountain of youth with that Browns defense, I agree with you. Right now on ESPN Bet, you can get the Browns at 18-1 to win the AFC. It's pretty tasty.
I'm in. Lamar Jackson was the last pick in the first round. Josh Allen was the 3rd quarterback taken the year that he came out. These guys are the stars of the league right now. Patrick Mahomes was the 2nd quarterback drafted the year that he came out. He went 9th or 10th, whatever it was that he went. Going up to get Caleb Williams, look, I wish Caleb Williams nothing. I hate talking like this because it sounds like, I'm not criticizing the kid. I love the kid. Everything I know about him. I've met his parents because they were out in L.A. one time when we were there for the NBA, and Wilbon introduced me to them. Wonderful family, wonderful kid, incredibly talented player. Love him, wish him nothing but the best. I hope he winds up being the next Aaron Rodgers. But I would not trade 3 number 1 picks for anyone. I wouldn't.
No, I think you're 100% right. I
would trade 3 number 1 picks for people who are playing in the league now.
For stuff I know.
Right.
I like doing things in life with information that I know.
I would trade 3 number 1s for Patrick Mahomes right now.
Of course.
So fast it would make your head spin.
Not things that I think. That is we are a celebrity obsessed culture, and this is a quarterback obsessed industry. We have these arrogant coaches and GMs and player development types that are sure that they can turn a college quarterback into an NFL superstar, when we know, based on all the data and all the evidence, that you have a far better chance of your program succeeding if you build a strong infrastructure, if you have a strong foundation, and if you happen to hit right on the quarterback, but not at the expense of everything else. Look at the Bears historically. Look at the Browns historically. Look at the Jets historically. They are quarterback-obsessed franchises, and they are franchises that historically lose.